This is the Louie Tee Network.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie Tee? It's me. Oh, wait. Feels good to be home, baby. Feels good to be home. Back like I never left in the first place. I'm not lying to y'all, man. It feels good to be home. I've been away from the mic and the camera and all of the things that have made my life enjoyable over the last 4 years or so. So it feels damn good to be back in front of the people. And I know you miss me. I know you miss me. You can't hide it. You miss me. It's all good though. Long process. We're going to talk about it. Overtime, we'll talk about what took me so long to come back. But you know what time it is. You already know what time it is. It's that time again. 2017 NFL Scouting Combine is upon us, and we're about to jump knee deep into this draft talk. The next 2.5 months will consume us of draft talk, free agency, you name it. Teams will look vastly different over the next couple of months. And so we're going to jump knee deep into these players coming into the NFL via the college draft. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to start by talking scouting combine. Now, I'm going to give you all you need to know about this combine, give you a couple of tidbits at each position, players that you should look out for at the upcoming combine. Look, I tell you this all the time, and I mean this sincerely from the bottom of my heart. I'm going to waste 8 hours per day for the next 4 days of my life so you don't have to. If you have something better to do, by all means, please go and do that. I am willing to make that sacrifice for you. So go out, enjoy what life has to offer while I sit here enslaved in front of the TV, watching hours of nothing and reporting back to you what I find. Now, if you have nothing to do with your life, like me, then guess what? We can sit here and watch it together. But in any event, I will be back to report what I see. So I'm going to give you a quick preview as to what you should be looking for from this combine and specific positions. So without any further ado, don't want to waste a lot of your time because you're going to have plenty of that wasted over this next weekend with the combine. I'm going to jump right into the proceedings this evening. We're going to start with the position that matters the most, and that's the quarterback position. At the combine, there's not really much you need to see from the quarterbacks. We always hear competition. I want to go out and compete. That's all fine and dandy. And yes, you want to see guys throw the football. You want to see them let it spin, let it rip, let it fly. You don't care about incompletions. We know you don't have timing with these receivers. None of that stuff matters. Go out there, have clean footwork if possible, have good mechanics, and show off and showcase your arm. But really, for me, with the quarterbacks, the things that we won't see are going to matter way more than the things that we do. No one really cares about a quarterback's 40 time. No one cares about how hard or how far they can throw it. It helps. You want to see what you saw on film match up with what you see in person if you're an evaluator at the combine. But bottom line is, what's going to really separate these quarterbacks is what they do on the Wonderlic test. What they do in these 15-minute interviews with all of these teams. When they put them up on the whiteboard, when they ask them, hey, we're giving you this coverage and this look. What do you do? Where do you go? What is this called? What is this formation? What do you do here? If a linebacker walks down here, what's the thing that you're going to be looking for here? They want to know what these players know formationally. Can they call out a play? These are all things that are going to matter with these quarterbacks, which we won't have information and won't be privy to in this process. But for the quarterbacks, it's not as important as it is skill positions and other players at numerous positions. Quarterbacks are there to be glamorous, to go out, to throw, and to look pretty while doing so. But what they do behind the scenes is going to matter a lot more so than what we see on our television screens this weekend. Running backs, let's talk about a position that will matter at the combine, and what they do on the field positionally with the drills will matter. And for me, Cook and Fournette, of course, I'm talking about the top two backs in this draft class, in Dalvin Cook of Florida State and Leonard Fournette of LSU. These are the two guys that I fully expect to light up the combine. I'm not going into the combine looking to see what these guys are going to do intently because I fully expect them to go out and blaze it. But a guy like Christian McCaffrey is intriguing because I think he has a chance to really showcase his full array of skills because he can catch the football. He's going to be a punt returner potentially at the next level as well. So you want to see the change of direction, his ability to catch it out of the backfield. But more importantly, how fast does he run his 40? Because he's looking to shed that label of white running back. And with a good 40 time, I think he can do that. Also, a guy like Texas running back Deontay Foreman and South Florida's Marlon Mack could shoot up draft boards with an impressive workout. I'm not a huge Deontay Foreman guy, but if he runs well, if he tests well, maybe he's a guy that could be a back that comes off the board a lot sooner than I am giving him credit for at this moment. And also a guy that I think is very intriguing that a lot of people are mentioning his name, and right now he's a draft dark horse, a sweetheart, if you will, is Tennessee's Alvin Kamara. He's a guy that everyone's talking about, limited playing time at Tennessee, transfer over from Alabama, but this is a guy that has immense potential, and I think if he goes out, blazes the combine like a lot of people anticipates he will, he's a guy that could sneak his way into the first round. Definitely won't be around come mid-second round. Just don't see that happening. Don't see him lasting that long. If he goes out and performs the way that I think he's capable of, I fully expect him to be off the board by then. Name to watch at the running back position, South Florida's Marlon Mack, poor man's Dalvin Cook. You're not going to get Cook. Here could be another option for you at the running back position. Tons of speed, good vision, can run. Marlon Mack, a guy that I think if he runs well, could help himself at the combine. Next position, wide receiver, one of my favorites, if not my favorite, along with the corners. How fast is Mike Williams and Corey Davis? I think those are your two top wide receivers in this draft class. And I don't think it's a situation of like Kevin White a couple of years ago where we were like, how fast is Kevin White? We gotta know. I think Mike Williams, even if he doesn't blaze the combine with his 40 time, we know what he is as a football player, can go up and high point the football. So I don't think there's a question of what he brings to the table, but you would love to know if he has the ability to stretch the field vertically. Saw him do it a little bit at Clemson. Would love to know if that's legit for speed or if he's a guy that you're going to have to throw it up into some tight coverage and ask him to go up and make plays. And Corey Davis, we've seen speed with him on tape, but how fast is he really? I think he has a chance to separate himself from the rest of the pack in terms of legit speed. Him and John Ross, to me, could be two of the better speed demons in this draft if he can go out and show that at the combine. Do any of the possession receivers, like a Cooper Kupp or Zay Jones or Juju Smith, do they have an extra gear? We're going to find that out at this combine. With John Ross dealing with an ankle injury, can a guy like D.D. Westbrook or even Isaiah McKenzie showcase some blazing speed and maybe help their draft stock a little bit and turn some heads? Look, a name to watch, or two for that matter, is North Carolina's Ryan Switzer. Look, he's not going to run extremely fast, but he's quicker than fast. I think he's going to be one of the better slot receivers in this entire draft. He has the makeup of a Wes Welker, the look and the feel of a Danny Amendola. I think this is a guy that can come in and help a team. And in the league now, with the passing game the way that it is, and needing to win on third down, I think a guy like Ryan Switzer could do himself some good at the combine with a great performance. Also, keep an eye on Western Kentucky's Taywan Taylor, another guy that I think can run really fast and do himself some good, put up monster numbers at Western Kentucky. I think he could turn some heads at the combine if he goes out, tests well, catches the football, and showcases his skill set as well. Next, we get to the tight end position, and I'm not going to lie to you, this is a position that generally, when we're talking combine, I'm not too enthused about because, let's face it, the tight end position usually isn't that good. The crop isn't really that great coming out of college. With the spread offense in college, tight ends don't really block as much, and really you don't get great pass catchers at that position. You'll take an X receiver and convert him, and so I've become pretty jaded with the tight end position. But that was until this crop of tight ends showed up on the scene. I talked about them before the college football season took place and how these tight ends had a chance to be the best group of tight ends we've seen in quite some time, and they lived up to the billing. This is a deep and rich tight end group headed by O.J. Howard out of Alabama, but David Njoku has shot up draft boards and has a chance to be the talk of the combine with his rare combination of size and speed. So he's definitely someone that everyone will be watching very closely as this combine takes place. Also, don't be surprised if a couple of small school guys stand out in this combine, as Gerald Everett of South Alabama or Adam Shaheen of Ashland could garner major attention if their combine performances match their production at their respective schools. A name to watch at this combine, I already mentioned him, David Njoku of the U is a guy that I think everybody is enamored with, and right now just simply wants to see this big man run really, really fast. And we'll see if he's able to do that at the 2017 NFL Scouting Combine. Let's switch gears and talk offensive linemen and get to the big nasties. And while offensive tackle isn't as top heavy as it normally is in this particular draft, there are two tackles that have separated themselves, or at least have a chance to do so at the combine from the rest of the offensive tackle pack, in Wisconsin's Ryan Ramczyk and Utah's Garrett Bowles. So we'll see if those guys are able to go out, be technicians. And remember, you're talking about guys that really only have 1 year of starting experience at the tackle position. So these guys have to go out and show that they have the ability to be the first couple of tackles off the board, but fully expect them to go and do that. Meanwhile, shifting gears to the guard position, Forrest Lamp of Western Kentucky seems to be the clear-cut favorite there at the guard position. He's a guy that actually plays tackle at Western Kentucky. He's going to make the transition to guard at the next level, has guard size, and actually has the ability to be a first-round pick and have an impact day one for a team. And I think he's going to have the athleticism that teams are looking for at the guard position to separate himself from the rest of the guard class. And then you move to the center position, and unlike last year where a guy like Ryan Kelly was the clear-cut favorite at center, there are a couple of guys at the top of the center crop with two different body types. Of course, Ethan Posick out of LSU is a big hulking 6'6" figure. Meanwhile, Pat Elfine out of Ohio State is a much more compact center. Both get the job done. Neither of them first-round picks, maybe not even second-round picks. We'll see how that goes. But in any event, the center position does have a couple of guys that I think will come off the board first at that position in Posick and Elfine. Offensive lineman to watch at the combine is Troy's Antonio Garcia. He's a guy that I think has the athleticism and the size that teams are looking for. I think he has a chance to be the third tackle taken off the board if you don't count Alabama's Cam Robinson as a tackle. I think he might even make the transition to guard, so we'll see what happens. But guy that I want to see out there is Antonio Garcia out of Troy. Out with the O, in with the D. Perfect segue and transition from one side of the football in the trenches to the other. We're now talking defensive line, and to me, Jonathan Allen is the unquestioned leader in the clubhouse, especially when you're talking interior defensive linemen. But this guy has the versatility to play all four positions on the defensive line if you're talking 4-3, and can play the 5 technique if you're talking 3-4. So this guy's versatility and his relentlessness on the field, snap in, snap out, is going to probably see him be the second player taken in this draft behind Myles Garrett. But there's one obstacle standing in his way, and it's nothing on the field at the combine that's going to allow him to be the second pick in this draft, potentially first. It's his medical that he's going to have to clear at the combine. He won't participate because he just came off of another shoulder surgery, and he's had multiple while at Alabama. So that's something that the combine medical staff is going to have to take a very close and hard look at to see if this guy is going to check out medically. If he can clear those, I think he'll be just fine But there are other guys that not only are going to have to perform on the field, but also in the interview room. We're talking about guys like Malik McDowell, who we question his work ethic and his want to sometimes. Montravius Adams is another interesting guy out of Auburn. And then you have Caleb Brantley out of Florida, all guys who are very talented that have a chance to go early in this draft. And so these are the types of guys that we're looking for to see the athleticism. And a guy that I want to keep my eye on the defensive line is Charlotte's Larry Ogunjobi, a defensive lineman that can play one or two gap, has a bit of quickness off the snap, an explosive first step or two. I think he's a guy that could easily turn some heads with some athleticism at the combine. Would not surprise me if Larry Ogunjobi shines at the combine and starts to move up some draft boards. Now we get to the moneymakers, the big boys that can go and hunt the quarterback. We're talking edge rushers, and along with safety and corner, this is as deep as it gets in this draft. We're talking talent on top of talent. Myles Garrett is the #1 overall talent in this draft. He is going to go #1 overall, despite any rumors that you may hear of Cleveland trading out of the first pick or Cleveland taking a quarterback. It's going to be Myles Garrett, and rightfully so. But behind Myles Garrett is a dearth of gems just waiting to be uncovered, whether you're talking Solomon Thomas out of Stanford, Taco Charlton out of Michigan, Charles Harris of Missouri, or Derek Barnett of Tennessee. The list goes on and on. I haven't seen a draft this rich, this deep with pass rushers in a league starving for pass rushers. This is as good as it gets. Just to name a few, we could go on and on with guys that can get to the quarterback in this draft. Tim Williams out of Alabama, DeMarcus Walker out of Florida State, Jordan Willis out of K-State, Tano Passington out of Villanova. I could keep going. It's that deep. And so this is a position of note. And I think there are a number of guys that can help themselves with a really good showing at the combine. And I think those guys that I've already mentioned have high draft profiles, and they can boost it even further if they go out and do what I think they're capable of doing athletically at the combine. A name to watch for at the combine is a guy in Terrell Basham out of Ohio. If he goes out and runs as well as I think he can run, I think Terrell Basham is a guy that could definitely help himself at the combine. Moving right along to the linebacker position. Linebacker to me is extremely top-heavy and athletic this year in the draft. Reuben Foster will set the combine ablaze with his pure athleticism. I am assured of that. But he's not alone with athleticism in this draft at the linebacker position. To me, Hassan Reddick out of Temple, also Florida's Jared Davis, Vandy's Zach Cunningham, all offer similar athleticism in different size packages. I think these guys can all run, move out in space, and offer you some things at the linebacker position in a league where speed kills and you need that kind of speed at the linebacker position. I think this is a top-heavy group. I think after the first 4 or 5 guys, there's going to be a stark drop-off in the amount of athleticism you're going to get. But nonetheless, there are some guys that can run in this draft at the linebacker position. And a name, speaking of guys that can run, a name to watch that I'll be looking at very closely is one that has suddenly went under the radar in Raekwon McMillan out of the Ohio State University. This is a guy that I'm really intrigued by. If he goes out and runs the way that I think he can, he's a guy that I think is being slept on and will wake some people up if he can go out and test well at the combine. Let's go outside, shall we? We've been stuck inside all day. Let's go outside and play. And the cornerback position is loaded with guys that can do exactly that. The quality in this draft at the cornerback position is utterly ridiculous. I'm talking, I don't think I've ever seen this type of quality at this position. I love watching corners play. Good cornerback play is second to none in this league. And that being said, I've got 5 first-round grades of corners in this draft. And after that, I'm talking guys that are banging on the first-round door like, yo, let me in. Another 4 or 5 guys. It's that loaded. You can get through about 3 rounds worth of corners before you start to see a stark drop off. It is ridiculous in this draft. My 5 first-round grades are the 2 Florida boys in Wilson and Tabor, the 2 Buckeye boys in Conley and Lattimore, and Sidney Jones out of Washington. But as far as this combine is concerned, with all of the depth and all of the guys that are out there that can run and jump and do all of the things that make me excited at the cornerback position, the one thing I'm really looking for is Tees Tabor. How fast are you really, bruh? Because we've had this same conversation with the Florida corner before, and you need to look no further than last year when we were asking the same question of Vernon Hargraves the third. How fast are you, bruh? He came to the combine, he took care of business. He was a first-round pick, top 12 pick. Can Tees Tabor do the same thing? We will see. My eyes will be squarely planted on Tees Tabor and his ability to run or lack thereof at this combine. Keep your eye on USC's Adoree Jackson and UCLA's Fabian Moreau. These are other guys that I think easily could sneak into the end of the first round. If not, they're coming off the board early second. There are so many other guys in this draft at the cornerback position. It is ridiculous. If you need secondary help, this is the draft for you, whether it's corner or the next position. You're bound to find somebody that can help your football team right away. Let's go to the safety position. And to me, if corner's the deepest in this draft, edge rusher being the second, safety is a close third. And again, at a position where we don't normally talk about great depth in a draft, teams are starving for safety play in a league where safety play is severely lacking, but never more integral in the success of a defense. Here comes a safety draft for the ages, starting with the elites at the top, the Malik Hookers of the world, and Jamal Adams, of course, are your 2 creme de la creme, top of the crop safeties in this draft. But then the list of talent is long and robust afterwards. From the Peppers to the Buda Bakers, you can get you a quality safety in this draft. These guys need to go out and show that they can run, that they can move, change direction, ball skills, all of those things. The things that we saw on Saturdays that made us feel comfortable saying that this is a great crop of safeties. If they can do that, I think that we're going to be very impressed with what we see at the combine. But I tell you what, this safety group, much like the cornerback position, has me very excited. And I can't wait to watch these guys go out and perform, because there are some very gifted and talented. You're talking about 8 to 12 guys in this draft class that will be selected that are going to be 6'2" or better at the cornerback position. Or you can move to safety. It is insane. Speaking of which, a guy that I have my eye on at the safety position is Obi Melanfongu out of UConn. Here's a guy, this is insane, 6'4", like 215. They're saying he's going to run sub 4.5 at the combine. I don't believe it. I need to see it with my own 2 eyes. If this guy is as athletic as they say he is, and I've watched him on tape, and he seems like he can run, but I'm not sure if that's 4.5 or sub 4.5. We're going to find out together. If he runs that fast, there are teams that are potentially looking at this guy as a corner at the next level. And so it doesn't shock me in the least that the safety position is one of the best when you've got guys like that lining up to perform at the combine. Safety, corner, I'm just intrigued by the entire secondary crop that is going to be put in front of us this year. And again, if you're looking for talent in the secondary, this is the draft for your team. That being said, That's all I have for you. That's your guide to the 2017 NFL Scouting Combine. I'm going to break down each and every single day, tell you what I saw, tell you what I liked, what I didn't like. And we'll break this thing down as we always do here on the Louie Tee Network. As always, if it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room on the Louie Tee Network. I will see you all weekend long. Feels good to be home and feels good to be back. And I thank you for joining me here on the Louie Tee Network. See you next time. Have a good one.